There is no greater pleasure than watching a case artfully unfold with mathematical precision, giving us a clear-cut single similimum that cannot but give us a bullseye cure. I was once again reminded of this pleasure yesterday. A young boy, 6 years old, of hyperreactive airway disease, began to narrate his symptoms and incidents of his life in a clear-cut, rational way. As he began to do this, Hahnemann's PQRS symptoms began to intrude in the case, much like mismatched pieces of the jigsaw puzzle. Hahnemann, Freud, and Jung would have enjoyed this show as much as I did. For while we function as conscious, rational beings from our neocortex, 90% of our brain functions automatically, independent of conscious thought and recognition. We walk, we run, we ride a bicycle. Our organs function in a precise manner through this automatic part of the brain, also called the unconscious, just because our conscious mind does not control and is aware of this. The conscious mind and the unconscious function separately to allow us to function efficiently and yet learn new things. Our state, Hahnemann's disease state, where there is an altered perception of reality, is irrational. It is not the true conscious reality. Hence, as a defense, is pushed by this conscious mind into this unconscious space. Thus, in this unconscious, automatic brain area lies also the disease state. It is this state that shows as our patterns of behavior, diseased, unhealthy patterns of behavior that we continue to do repeatedly in our lives. It is also this state, therefore, that controls and changes the actions of our organs, eventually resulting in the pathology within the organs. As the patients speak and give their symptoms, it is these words from the state that suddenly come up into a reality conversation, seeming completely absurd, seeming completely unconnected to what the context of the conversation was. It is these that Hahnemann recognized as peculiar, queer, rare, and peculiar symptoms. It is these symptoms that he very clearly understood take us to the remedy or the similimum that can remove this state and thus bridge the gap between a healthy conscious and the unconscious state within us. Repertorial rubrics are brilliant pieces that show these peculiar symptoms and the state from the unconscious. However, we do not find these rubrics for every remedy or every patient that comes in front of us. Or our patients do not give us those peculiar symptoms that we can directly convert into the repertorial language. The delusional state, which is the emotional perception of the world coming from the state within, is also another brilliant tool to take us to this state and similimum. However, this delusional state is often misleading because it has a mixture of emotions, thoughts, reality, as well as the state. Sometimes separating the true absurdity and the state from the emotional and the thought components becomes difficult and can lead us away from the correct similimum. This method, the leap to the similimum, that I teach and show since the last 8 years, happened to me. It's a method that was born out of frustration in watching and trying to solve some failures. The method uses the words of the root state within. It uses the language that is purely the language of the irrational side of the brain, which seats and houses this state. When we use the language of this irrational brain, we reach directly to the state itself. This method takes us to the source. And hence, as we reach the pure source of the similimum, it removes all needs for transcendental speculation or subjective prejudices that can come from the homeopath himself. As this method happened, and I enjoy the pleasure of watching every case unfold and the cases reaching the bullseye similimum, I must but share it with the rest of the homeopathic community. Students question me, can we at this young point where we are beginning to learn homeopathy, can we at this point learn this method? And I say to them, yes you can. Practitioners for many years practicing many different methods with good success feel we are happy doing the method we are doing. Doesn't matter if it has limitations. Why should we change? Because change is the only constant. Routine is stagnation. And you and I as homeopaths share the responsibility of finding the perfect similimum for every case in front of us. Another group of people say, this method, the leap to the similimum, that takes you and the patient from the conscious reality straight to the unconscious where lies the state and the remedy, is a niche method. Only very few intelligent homeopaths can follow this method, they say. I say this is an insult to the homeopathic community. For if we are homeopaths, it obviously means we are intelligent, because it is then that we understand what a holistic cure is. Hence, this method is the one for every homeopath to learn, to increase their arsenal and fulfill their responsibility of growth, learning and similimum for every case that they have. I welcome you to learn with me and advance as I am every day with the leap to the similimum method.